Today we're having a look at The Lichway, written by Albi Fiore, appearing in White Dwarf issue 9 in 1978. It is designed for original or advanced D&D, but can be adapted to other old-school systems such as BX, OSE, and others. It's a 3.5-page adventure for a party of 6 level 1 characters, including 32 rooms, a variety of enemies, and an interesting map. The Lichway is located by a lake or sea and can be easily incorporated into any campaign setting. There is reference to an ancient civilization that once occupied the crypt, but there's nothing here that cannot be adapted to your own campaign setting, and can possibly enhance it. This is an adventure site to be explored. There are situations with monsters and NPCs set up which can develop into a story, but nothing is scripted and any plot that emerges will be from the PC's actions. This is a wonderful introductory adventure that you can start an old-school campaign with. There's an air of mystery to this place, unfamiliar rituals, strange creatures, and a constant drone which permeates the complex. The source of this strange drone is the central dilemma of the adventure, the mysterious cerus. There are some vague rumours that may draw your adventuring party to the Lichway. The rumours tell of the wealth that may be hidden within the crypt, and how another adventuring party left to explore the crypt some months before, never to return. There are also rumours of svarts and kobolds within the dungeon. It's worth revealing all 4 of the rumours to the party before they set off. The party arrive at a huge structure built into a cave with a towering door covered in padlocks and another opening into a room filled with strange glyphs and symbols. Entering this strange crypt, they discover they are not the first to explore this place, and fights with tomb robbers and goblins will ensue. As they delve deeper into the dungeon, the PCs will uncover the purpose of the crypt, discovering a vampire statue, a waterlogged room filled with drowned corpses, and a huge hall filled with grave markers, suggesting the entombment of hundreds of bodies. As they make their way towards the ever-present echoing drone that pervades the place, they will discover the bizarre caged cerus. What happens next depends on whether the party kill this odd creature, for its droning song is the only thing that keeps hundreds of undead from awakening and breaking out of their repose. If the cerus is killed, the party will be beset by more than 600 skeletons. They will likely escape in the opposite direction and run into beastmen, kobolds, and the chaotic party of Dark Odo, a group of ne'er-do-wells that have made their home in the crypt. If they manage to overcome all these challenges and escape the army of skeletons, they might escape with their lives. But the hundreds of skeletons may now be about to erupt from the crypt. As well as looting the dungeon for treasure and defeating its many denizens, the party have the chance to also heroically rescue 2 prisoners of Dark Odo's gang. While there is no time limit written in the adventure, one can be introduced for the captured NPCs who are likely to come to a bad end at the hands of the wicked gang. The adventure is a site exploration, and very engaging for players that like to uncover mysteries. The map is not linear, with several entrances and secret doors to discover, but there are not many routes through the dungeon. The map includes useful details such as which way doors open and where the drone song can be heard from, one of the very few adventures that marks sound on the map. The grid is marked on the non-playable area, a trend in some adventure maps from the late 70s which thankfully didn't last very long. Alternative maps can be found online that are better. There are a variety of interesting monsters such as svarts, man-beast shapeshifters, a spine scale, and coalinths. Most of these monsters appear in previous issues of White Dwarf, and many made their way into the AD&D Fiend Folio. The most interesting monster is the cerus, which has such a specific ability that it characterizes the whole adventure. There is a variety of challenge ranging from easy goblin fights to the aforementioned horde of undead, but everything seems appropriate to a party of 6 level 1 characters. Dark Odo and her gang have just enough details to make each of them interesting, allowing the DM to elaborate upon them. Odo herself reclines on lush cushions, smoking drugs, and will use charm, sleep, and invisibility to manipulate and overcome intruders if her guards do not do the job first. The writing in this adventure is quite terse. The whole dungeon is strange and interesting, but the descriptions can occasionally get in the way of comprehension. In some cases, the descriptions of rooms can take several read-throughs to understand. The structure of the adventure is also good. A brief background, DM information section, and a set of rumours precedes the dungeon room descriptions, which are clearly delineated. NPC statistics are well displayed in each paragraph, but room and monster stats tend to get a bit lost in the text. There is also no separation between descriptions, which should be read aloud, and other room details. So I would advise making some notes or highlighting parts of the paragraph for easy use at the table. There is about 10,000 gold pieces worth of treasure to be found. However, some of the items have random values associated with them. I would much prefer these various gems and jewels to be marked with a single value instead of having to roll for them. In addition, the largest hoard of treasure located beneath the cerus's cage is left to the discretion of the DM. So bear that in mind, that you will need to generate this before it is discovered. A lot of the treasure is hidden, so I wouldn't expect the party to find the whole haul. As well as loads of treasure, there are a few magic items to be found as well, including the powerful sword Bloodletter, which has a secret curse upon it, a mace which can transform into a serpent, and a small magical kaleidoscope, which is a trivial magical device that apprentice spellcasters craft as part of their arcane training. Each of these items is interesting and not simply a +X weapon. The kaleidoscope can add a little bit of lore to your campaign world as well. When I ran this adventure, it was a great success. I'll note a few issues which occurred during my playthrough and some of the successes. I somehow missed the wandering monster details for the outside of the crypt, and some of the treasure which is hidden in a submerged boat. I assume the wanderers should be rolled up every turn, but the adventuring party will spend most of their time inside the crypt. There are no wanderers specified for within the crypt. The descriptions of the doors, both the stone gate and the flame portal, are a little misleading and difficult to explain to players. I found a similar issue with the trap in the iron room, which was not clear on first reading. The party may end up negotiating with Dark Odo and her gang, or use their own charm spells, so it's good those snippets of personality in the NPC descriptions are included. But, as should be expected in any adventure where charm person is an option, consider how each of the NPCs will act once charmed, and what kind of information they may know about the crypt. If Dark Odo charms or sleeps the party, there is an option of throwing them in the prison cells, either to escape later or await rescue by another party. The main thing to consider is how the party will deal with the cerus. They will work out that the creature is guarding something, and they will also eye the silver bars of the cage, which annoyingly do not have any price, weight, or description on how they may be extracted. The cerus loathes fire, so it will likely jump and rattle the cage bars as any torch or lamplight approaches it. It is possible to pacify the cerus with the bone necklace found in the pit of eternal flame, but the party may find some other method of retrieving the treasure without killing the creature. However they do it, I'd advise rewarding clever plans with a hefty hoard of loot. Your players may also try to farm the skeletons in the crypt, killing each one individually. I would reward no experience for this, or maybe just 1 or 2 XP points per skeleton, as this is not really much of a challenge and not in the spirit of the game. It would also take a long time and be very tedious to kill 600 skeletons one by one and should be discouraged, so directly warn your players against this course of action. Finally, bear in mind that many of the monsters in this adventure were found in the pages of White Dwarf magazine. While many of them ended up being published in the AD&D Fiend Folio Bestiary, Just bear in mind you might have to source unusual stat blocks for uncommon creatures before you run this adventure. What do I like most about this adventure? It has a strange and unique premise to it, thanks to the particular nature of the cerus creature. There is a variety of creatures and challenges in this adventure, but most things seem to have a logical reason for existing in this place. I made almost no changes to this adventure before running it, and my players had a great time. There are unique challenges in this adventure, including some underwater sections which are not common in low-level modules. The underwater parts can be easily avoided though. There is a lot of interactivity with the dungeon, as well as the many NPCs that occupy it. There's a lot of possibility for story to emerge from this adventure, and of course, depending on how the cerus is dealt with, there could be a horde of undead on the prowl at the adventure's end, providing the catalyst for future adventures. I like the way that this adventure can be easily added into any campaign setting, and there are still snippets of lore in this site which are not generic but also not big enough to impact your campaign setting too much. There are not many downsides to this adventure, save for the formatting and writing which could be improved. Make some notes before you run this and you shouldn't miss anything within the text. Thematically, the adventure is a little dark in places, with drowned corpses, a drug-using witch, and a jailer who has captured and abused a female prisoner. This last scene is quite unnecessary, but it does make it clear that the group inhabiting the west of the dungeon are bad guys. There is not much of the heroic going on here. The final downside is that if the characters do not kill the cerus, there is the risk that the adventure may end up being a little anticlimactic. However, in that situation, Dark Odo and her gang can be used as more aggressive antagonists. Overall, this is a great low-level module. It can be used to start your campaign or as an adventure site on your hex map near the party's starting location. The party may return to this site again and again, trying to work out how to steal the cerus's treasure. Don't forget to repopulate the dungeon at intervals. The adventure fits well into most campaign settings and will be very rewarding for your players. Have you run the Lichway before? How did it go? Let me know in the comments. If you'd like to support the channel, you can pick up one of my books from DriveThruRPG or join my Patreon. And as always, thanks for watching.